Драги деца, еве да ви го најавам и моето последно обраќање преку видео на овој начин за оваа година, каде што имаме за цел да обработиме Part 2 од Unit 12, односно вториот дел од последната лекција. Се надевам дека ги поминавте претходните Unit 11 и 12, се подготвувате со вежбите за престојниот тест, а овај час ние само ќе направиме една кратка revision, односно повторување на форматот past simple од правилните глаголи и ќе направиме, ќе прочитаме квиз за UK and the USA и секако да го финишираме последниот дел од приказката во врска со Silent Power. Project Activities ќе ви ги оставам за вашите проектните активности, ќе ви ги оставам за домашно да зборувате за себе, за својот живот, од минатото до денес за timeline. А сега накратко пред да почнеме со вежбите, да ги погледнеме формите на past simple tense. Што земавме всушност во овие неколку часа? Зборувавме за past simple tense, за минато просто време и ги учевме формите на to be и на правилните глаголи. За разлика од правилните глаголи, to be има две форми во past simple, was и were, кои што во негативна форма се wasn't и weren't, а прашалната форма ја правевме со инверзија, односно менување на местата на лицето и to be глаголот. За разлика од to be, правилните глаголи во past simple tense прават со минато време глаголска форма со додавање на ставката ed, прашална форма со помошниот глагол did, кој што го добивавме од do plus ed што преминуваше од глаголот кај do и стануваше did, а негативна форма исто со помошниот глагол did на кој што му се додава негација not. Значи од I worked, јас работев, did I work, дали јас работев, I did not или I didn't work, јас не работев. И кажавме дека се употребува за дејства кои што се случило во минатото, меѓутоа се точно одредени, знаеме кога точно се случили. Затоа се кажува I was born. Значи, што би било, ние велиме јас сум роден, но тие велат јас бев роден, затоа што знаат точно кога се случило тоа. И па да почнеме тогаш со вежбите, бидејќи имавме дел од ова юнит кој што не беа по програмата на БРО. Јас овој час ви комбинирав некои вежби и од книгата, ги исклучив тие што не ни се по програма и ги додадов тие од работната. So I suggest here that you stop the video for a moment, see the exercises, write them in your school notebook, and come later to check them together. Како што гледаме во првата вежба, се зборува за occupations, односно jobs. Ако се сеќавате, нив ги правевме со додавање на разни наставки на глаголот и добивавме professions. Па да видиме дали имате погодено според имињата. Pavarotti is a singer. Magellan was a painter. Magellan was explorer and Van Gogh was a painter. Number 4, Rowling was a writer. Russell Crowe is an actor. Мислам дека го гледавме во Гладиатор. Galileo was a scientist. Pele is a footballer. And Marilyn Monroe was an actress. Секавате дека добивавме и наставката за женски род на некој од именките за изразување occupations или jobs. Во втората вежба треба да избереме оној збор кој што соодветствува, односно кој што е appropriate into the context. Listen carefully. The first one is they went to a concert last night, or they were to a concert last night. The second one, they didn't get any autographs. Тие не добила. The third one, John wanted to start a new life. Number 4, I didn't have a bike when I was little. Number 5, John left England when he was 12. Number 6, why weren't you at school yesterday? Како што гледаме овде, за разлика од претходните, во последното имаме double each question, каде што по него следи инверзијата на глагол to be. Значи немаме did. Okay, let's go on with exercise 2 in the workbook. So we have to make a negative sentence of the past simple tense. Picasso painted the Sistine Chapel in Rome. False. He didn't paint the Sistine Chapel. Jane studied chimpanzee. True. The Romans traveled in spaceship. False. They didn't travel. John Lennon played for Manchester United. False. He didn't play. Bach and Mozart were writers. False. They weren't writers. They were musicians. Marilyn Monroe lived in the USA. True. Enrique Iglesias was a member of the Beatles. False. He wasn't a member. And the Aztecs used mobile phones. False. They didn't use. Number 3 is to be in the past simple tense. We've got questions and short answers. Кратки одговори на прашања, нејасно прашање. So, to be во минато време. Were the Beatles scientists? No, they weren't. They were pop stars. Was Marilyn Monroe an explorer? No, she wasn't. She was an American actress. Was Galileo Italian? Yes, he was. He was born in Pisa. Were Shakespeare and Roald Dahl painters? No, they weren't. They were writers. Were you born in England? No, I wasn't. I was born in Skopje, Macedonia. Let's go on. Now I suggest again to stop the video here, to write sentences and then to check them together. The first one is about double H question. So the first one would be, when did they disappear? The second one, why did he open it? Number 3, who did she phone? Number 4, where did you find it? Number 5, what did you use? Okay, ако забележувате, овие реченици се double H questions, да ги извежбате и да внимавате на who кога се работи за subject или за object. Number 4 is an exercise with time expression. And you have to put the words in the right order and make sentences. I didn't go to school last week. I didn't play football at the weekend. Како што забележувате, на крај се стават овие time expressions или adverbs за past simple tense. I was late for school yesterday morning. Did you stay at home last night? And number 5, is it an affirmative or negative? So positive or negative answer. Are they true? If not, we should correct them. You played hockey at the weekend. False, I didn't play hockey. You traveled to London yesterday. False, I didn't travel to London yesterday. You were at school yesterday morning. False, I wasn't at school yesterday morning. I was at home. You didn't use your computer yesterday. False, I used my computer yesterday. You weren't at school last week. In fact, this is true. I wasn't at school last week. You watched television last night. True, I watched television last night. If it's not, you can say, I didn't watch. You studied English when you were 3. False, I didn't study English when I was 3. And the last one is the exercise to translate the sentences into Macedonian. So they would be: дали уживаше во мечот? Тие дури не се ни насмевна. Не ми е грижа, тоа не е важно. Зошто Лиза е лошо расположена? Ова е крајот на книгата. Конечно. Okay, after the revision of the past simple tense forms and doing the exercises, let's go to the last chapter of the silent powers, and it's entitled A Horse for the King's Men. So it's very, very similar to the legend of the King's Arthur. So it's about a horse. On the right, you've got new vocabulary. In order to follow the text more easily, you can read them for yourself. And before we go to chapter 10, I would like you to set some questions to you and to revise the previous chapter. Значи да се присетиме што се случуваше претходно. Who said this? Mr. Nail, is it you? Кој го кажа ова? Sophie. Now we must open the gate of rings. It's Merlin. You can never open the gate. It was the Red Queen. How did Sophie open the gate? Do you remember? She shouted. And what was the secret word? It was power. Now focus yourself on the picture and tell me what can you see. And while listening, you're going to tell me if Sophie is at the beginning of this story, at the end of the chapter, at the same place. And we can get the answer of some questions in the end and find the ED forms, past simple forms in the text. Before we go through the questions and the tasks given in the end, we're going to listen to the text first. So listen carefully.
Unit 12. The Silent Powers. Chapter 10. A Horse for the King's Men.
A silver light came from the moonstone in Sophie's hand. Everywhere in the cave there were knights with their white horses. They were all asleep. In the middle of the cave, she saw a man in rich clothes, with a crown on his head. Then Merlin spoke to her.
100 knights are sleeping here with their king, King Arthur. They're waiting for the day when England is in great danger. Then their mission is to save the country from destruction. But one knight hasn't got a horse. That's why Epona is here. You must leave her. And you must leave the moonstone too. The king needs the stone's power. But he's got a gift for you. It's in this box. Thank you, Sophie. You can go home now.
Sophie came out of the cave and went along the path. She was alone. She stopped and looked at the hill. It was just an ordinary hill. No gate, no cave. She opened the box in her hand. Inside, there was a necklace of 9 stones with the 9 signs of her journey. And there was a piece of paper. Suddenly, the sky changed, and the sun disappeared. A great wind came from the north. Sophie fell, and everything went black. When she opened her eyes, she was in a London taxi. The noise of the traffic filled her ears. The taxi stopped outside her flat. She got out, found her key, and went into the flat. On the floor, there was a letter.
Okay, so what is the answer to my question, if the one that I asked about Sophie? So is she, or was she at the beginning and the end of the chapter, or in the same place? So you've got the answer that she wasn't at the same place. Before we go through the text and find the idiom forms, I want you to say some words about the legend of King Arthur. Кралот Артур владел во Camelot, so it was a castle of his, znači neki zamok, and he had the support of his knights. И имал, нели, подкрепа од неговите витези. You remember, or you know, that they were at the round table. Тие биле витезите на округла маса, со нивниот начин на морален начин на однесување, имале код и социјален на однесување, и во средновековните легенди еден од најхрабрите негови витези биле Сир Ланселот. И секако може би се сеќавате дека во негово време имаше и Search for the Holy Grail, односно it was the Christ cup of the Last Supper. Значи, посветата cup of or Holy Grail, каде што имаше многу авантуристички филмови снимени на ова тема. His death was in the hands of his nephew, умрел во раците на неговиот внук. And so it's a legend, it's an English legend, and we learn about UK history through the book and through the grammar at the same time. And we suggest that probably there was a real Arthur, maybe he was British, who resisted the invading Saxons in the 6th century. Предпоставуваме дека имало и некој Arthur кој што се противил на нападот на саксонците во 6 век. Now let's go back to the story. As we can see, there are a lot of horses, but one is missing, and that's why Sophie was called up and summoned up to solve the issue about the missing horse. On the right there are some tasks, and I want you to hear some sentences first and tell me whether they are right or wrong. So, do you think that knights were all asleep? Yes, they were. King Arthur wasn't there. It's false. You can see him there. He was in the middle of the cave asleep. All the knights had a horse. False. One knight didn't have a horse, and that was the one that Sophie was bringing. Sophie must leave Epona and the moonstone in the cave. Is it true? Yes, it is. Sophie's gift from King Arthur was a necklace of 10 stones. It's false. The gift was a necklace of 9 stones. Значи, ogrlica со 9 камчиња. When Sophie came out of the cave, she saw an ordinary hill. No, it wasn't an ordinary hill. Yes, it was. There was no gate or a cave. That's why. We know Sophie got from King's Hill to London. We know how she got from King's Hill to London. Do we know? No, we don't, because she suddenly wake up and we don't know where she is in the first moment. When Sophie went into her flat, a key was on the floor. So it's false. There wasn't a key on her floor, but there was a letter. Okay. Now let's go to the puzzle tasks. And the puzzle tasks look at the message in chapter 9. What does the last line mean? So it's about 5k multiplied 20. It's 100. So it talks about 100 knights. Значи 50 по 2 се однесува на 100 витеза. The second dot implies about a poem. So there are 1, 2, 3 verses of a poem, and this is something that takes time. You can stop here and find out what the signs in the poem mean. Значи секој знак значи по некој збор. Пред да ви ги открием, можете да ги откриете сами, па потоа да ги провериме. Бидејќи ова ние веќе и последната chapter of the book. Life is a journey, a test or a dream. You can go alone or with friends in a team. You're looking for the secret, but the answer isn't clear. Tomorrow is a mystery. Tomorrow isn't here. But there's a message in the wind, a voice from the hill. The king has got a gift for you. Power, silent power. So the last one is, if you have time, use the imagination and continue the story, what happened next. So this would be your homework. You can write the text in Macedonian and English, but you can also make a summary, or you can choose the next chapter. Значи, за домашна задача овој пат може покрај другите опции да изберете и да си напишете ваша глава, односно next chapter 11 in past simple tense. I think that you liked the story about the legend of the King's Arthur. So the last one exercise, it's not a yearly exercise, it's about a quiz, and it's something I'm using for you. There are some questions for the UK and USA, and because we learn English, we've got American and British English, so there are some questions that maybe you know to answer. Stop the video here, answer the questions, and then you can come later and evaluate yourself how much you know about UK and USA. За да знаете дали имате податоци што ги познавате за овие две земји каде што се зборува англискиот јазик. So number 1, how many states are there in the USA? 50. How many countries are there in the UK? 4. What is the capital of the USA? Washington. Where does the Prime Minister of the UK live? 10 Downing Street. Where did the first native North American come from? Asia. This is very interesting. You can find out and search in the internet. When did the Pilgrim Fathers arrive in America? It's B, 1620. 7. When did America declare independence from Britain? It's the 4th of July, 1776. Who was the first female prime minister in Europe? I don't know about you, you've heard about her. It's Margaret Thatcher. In the USA, the president's wife is called the First Lady. The British flag is called the Union Jack. Okay. So how many did you get right? You can make other quiz questions if you like for your country, and if some of the words are not clear, you can see them on your right. I hope that you've got a lot of them right, because you know a lot about these two countries. And now the last lesson would be project activities you're going to do by yourself for homework. You've got some new words on the right, and it's my lifeline. So it's about from age 0 to age 12. Someone is writing when he was born, when he started school, his or her visits somewhere, when it's the first time he got his bike, or where he went to on a holiday, etc., etc. There are some irregular verbs. Има тука и неправилни глаголи кои што ви се еве went отиде, bought купи, won победи, кои што се само ставени и не се објасни затоа што ќе ги работиме до година, меѓутоа се ставени за да го разберете текстот. На сличен начин, значи at the age of different number, значи во различен timeline of your life, може да пишувате за себе и односно за оние значени моменти кои што се за вас, што се случило од кога сте се родиле до сега. Значи ќе зборувате за оние моменти кои што ве изненаделе, ве направиле среќни или мислите дека треба да се споменат во вашиот проект, односно project activities. Мислам дека ова нема да ви биде тешко. И бидејќи сме на крајот од програмата за 6 одделение, ќе го направиме и последниот assessment, односно тест од module 6. Се надевам дека го слушнавте видеото за шут, не би требало да представува тешкотија тоа за вас. Би сакала само да ги поминеме накратко работите кои што ќе бидат во тестот. Значи, повторете си за компаратив и суперлатив, кратките, долгите придавки и неправилното компарирање. Внимавајте да good, bad, much, more и far. Поинако се компарирате и заборавајте на old, кој што беше elder или eldest во семејство кога се работи. Зборувавме за професии, за минато време и глаголот сум, ги употребивме сите три форми потврдна, прашлна, негативна, но само за правилните глаголи за to be и секако поставувавме прашања. So, this is all for this school year. Hope you enjoyed the e-video lessons and hope to see you next year. I wish you a lot of health and very nice summer holiday. Bye bye.